And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man over there, that's the wild man, Chris Wilds. And tonight, Chris, we need to discuss Ryan Day's press conference from practice number 3, the first time the media has had the opportunity to talk to Ryan Day since Tony Alford decided to betray him and the running backs and the program and the fan base and decided to travel north to Ann Arbor to be the running backs coach there. Um, Ryan answered quite a few questions,
Mhm.
including if he felt he was betrayed, and he kind of sidestepped that a little bit. His answer about, everybody's got to make a decision on what's best for them and their families, basically how he worded that, which I thought
Very
was kind of,
political. Yeah.
yeah, Ryan Day has learned from the best on how to say a lot without saying nothing at all sometimes.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
sometimes you can read between the lines in what someone is saying or doesn't say, and I thought that that was a very safe answer, but at the same time,
Silence speaks volumes.
he didn't say anything about appreciating all the years that Tony
Yeah.
Alford spent here. He didn't mention any of those things, which tells me that if he was really hurt by this, he would have probably talked a little bit more about the man.
Yeah.
But because he took the safe answer, I think that Ryan Day is okay with this.
Yeah. I would have to agree. Uh, you know, and obviously we heard he's not rushing into a decision on a new coach. He sounded like he's actually enjoying coaching the running backs a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, I think that that's a good thing. I agree with you. I don't think he's hurt. I kind of feel like, and many people have said this before, it may have been something where Tony Alford could read the writing on the walls anyhow. Maybe I mean, obviously he wasn't a Chip Kelly guy. I don't know how much of a Ryan Day guy he actually was. You know, as he said himself, he was an urban guy. So for me, I don't think that Ryan Day is that upset by this. I think they're going to take the time to get in the guy they want who's going to be conducive to the Ryan Day, Chip Kelly way of doing things. And I'm really excited at the process. Obviously, he said that he's going to make the decision on that when the time comes. But Chip would be heavily involved, of course, making that makes a lot of sense. But what I found very interesting was the fact that he was going to let the running backs be a part of the process.
Hmm.
He's letting these guys actually talk to the
They're, they're going to have a voice. They're not going to
yeah.
make the decision,
They're not
but
going
they're
to
going
make
to
a
have a
decision, but they're
voice.
going to they're going to be able to express their opinion in the matter.
Which tells me it's going to be one of two people. Here's my prediction. It's either going to be DeMarco Murray if they can pull him away from Oklahoma
Oklahoma, yeah,
or Pepe Pearson. Because Pepe's going to come in with the I'm a former Buckeye, I'm one of you, I'm in the brotherhood.
yeah,
And that's going to resonate with the players.
yeah.
But DeMarco Murray, that name's going to resonate with the
Well,
players.
sure, he played for the Cowboys. He played for what, the Eagles, I think. I mean,
Yeah, played for
played for
Played
Chip
for
Kelly and
Chip
Ryan Day.
Kelly.
Yeah, the Eagles. So, I mean, I think either of those is a really sound fit, and I do though. I like the fact that he is giving them a voice in this.
So it sounds like it's not going to be Gillespie from what if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly. Now,
Yeah,
we could post this thing tomorrow and wake up on Thursday morning. It's been someone completely different, but it sounds like they're going to slow play this. They're not going to jump into a decision. This could be something that could drag out for a couple weeks, maybe even throughout spring. I doubt it, but it
I think
could.
they want somebody in place by the spring game, Eric. Just so they have a little bit of time with them before, we get into the break before summer ball.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, again, if Ryan Day or Chip Kelly does not feel 100% comfortable with the decision, I don't see them making it until possibly during that break.
Yeah.
I don't see them rushing it. So
Um, piggybacking on that, it was then topic about whether Alfred, how much of the new playbook he took with him,
Yes.
and Ryan Day was like, almost chuckled, was like,
Yeah.
none. Um, there was discussions of concepts. That's it. There is no specific names, plays, any of that. Ryan Day reiterated that it was mostly more about development. So we're talking about skills, technique, things of that nature was the focus. Any meetings that took place was more on the conceptual side as opposed to specific plays and
Yeah.
naming conventions and things. Plus, Ryan Day then alluded to the fact that they get to wear the devices in their helmets now to call plays. They'll be huddling. They're going to have a hybrid mixture of all of it together, and that not something that really seemed to bother him, Chris, about that.
No, I think that I feel a lot more comfortable now in knowing that um, the fact that not a lot was discussed, but at the same time, I don't know that we had to be worried anyhow because Eric, it wouldn't surprise me if what you mentioned a few weeks ago may not be true, and that this offense is so complex. Maybe Tony Alford was having a little bit of difficulty with it anyhow. So, I
I
mean,
mean,
you look at
when you
this.
come from one school of thought, it's kind of like I can only
He
relate
is
this
an
as a
old school running game coach.
yeah, I
Chip Kelly is so creative with his
correct.
run schemes that, and I think Ryan Day said it. What we see even in the spring game is not going to be what we see come the season. As these players
Right.
develop and learn in Chip Kelly's scheme, it's going to be a completely different offense come the kickoff of the season, and especially come November. So
Yeah. I can relate this to a basketball coach I was a stickler on playing man to man.
yes,
I when I would try to teach zone defenses, it was not my forte, and so it never seemed to work well with the team because I myself was never I never played in a zone defense type of atmosphere as a player.
right,
I mean, I knew how to play a basic 2-3 or a 1-3-1, and I knew the concepts, but I didn't know the intricacies of it. Like, say, someone from like who grew up under Jim Boeheim in Syracuse or something. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, yeah,
and so I think in a way Tony Alford is when Chip Kelly walked into the room and has these different concepts. Maybe he's just kind of like that's not my style. And so that could have maybe played a part of it outside of the other things that we've discussed in other videos, and
well, and
we
that does make a lot of sense, Eric. If you think about it, like I said, Tony Alford is an old school running guy, and you've got a pass happy head coach in Ryan Day and a creative, schemy guy in Chip Kelly, and they're both on the same page. And I think Alford knows that the days of just whether it's a single back or we don't see it. Didn't see too much at Ohio State, but the days of a two back set are just not going to be in the game. Not
yeah.
here. It's not going to be in the game plan. So
Um, moving on. We do recommend if you haven't already, go watch our video from last week on Tony Alford and whether
the
he
cowardly weasel.
whether you think he betrayed Ohio State or not. Um, what got me excited? Is there anything else you want to talk about before I have my dissertation on Jim Tressel?
Oh no, go ahead. I know what a bromance you have with Jim Tressel. So
It's
let's
not even
hear.
it's not even a bromance. It's beyond that at this point. Like um, there's Jesus and my father, and then probably Jim Tressel. Like that's where
That's the
he's at
hierarchy. Yeah,
in the pantheon of my mentors in life with men. It's it's my savior, my father, and Jim Tressel. Like I love Jim Tressel, and the fact that like publicly admitted today in the press conference, publicly admitted he called Jim Tressel. This that means two things. Number one, he knew it was bad.
yeah,
To publicly admit I sought out the advice of others is an admission that it was piss poor.
yeah,
Okay. Then he called, in my opinion, the greatest person you could call to talk special teams with. This is a man who literally said the punt is the most important play in football.
Hey, flipping that
Okay?
field's important, man.
Field position, baby. And so he took Jim Tressel's um, concept, his ideology on how to basically set up a room to have success, and he took pieces of that and given some advice from some others as well, and his own thoughts, has created a answer to the problem of special teams at Ohio State. And that was one of those moments, Chris, where I was like, "That's my coach. That's my coach." Calling Jim Tressel and getting basically the God of special teams speaking to him in the holiest of holies. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, man. Ryan Day should have been doing this years ago, if you ask me my opinion. But I'm thankful he did it.
Well, that could be part youth and part arrogance. The reason he didn't reach out, you know. So and I can understand that.
Let's chalk it up to just being a young coach.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think a bit of arrogance comes with that when you've got. Let's face it. I get down on him quite a bit, but with the record he does have, I mean, obviously, if you're not an Ohio State fan and you're looking at it from the outside, the guy's got an amazing winning percentage. I can understand people saying, "Well, why would he question himself about anything?" But I think that he finally learned, that what was it Socrates said, and true wisdom comes from knowing that you know nothing. He knew
right,
when it came to special teams that he knew nothing, and
right,
he reached out to the guy who did.
right.
That shows a level of maturity in his coaching.
Yes, it
And I
does.
think I think the fact that, and maybe I've been on him so much, and you've kept saying, "Let him learn, let him learn, let him learn." The fact that he was, whether it was Bill O'Brien or Chip Kelly, the fact that he was going to bring in an offensive coordinator and give up his playing calling, again, I think that's showing a level of maturity in his coaching. So I'm hoping that we finally get the Ryan Day that we've all wanted for the last 5 seasons this season.
Angry Ryan Day.
Angry Ryan Day, mature Ryan Day.
We might have to get a T-shirt or something with that on it.
I really feel so, we do, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was my to me that was like the great part of this press conference that I will go back and listen to again. The other part that caught me by surprise was the tight end talk.
Mm.
G. Scott Jr. apparently is the man. That's your tight end one. Does that surprise you? At
A
least
little
that's
bit,
tight end one going into what could be foreseed as a competition this
yes,
season.
yeah. I think that he's doing the right thing by giving him the opportunity. He's the guy who's got the years in the program. He made the move from receiver over, showing he's a team guy. Yeah, I think it's right to give him the opportunity, but I would be surprised if he's not showing at the level he needs to be if there's not a competition and some
Well,
some movement on that. But
we've
I think,
heard we
obviously, honestly, I think he is probably the best pass catcher of the tight ends.
okay. You just hit on what I was going to say. We've been hearing that Will Merrick, the transfer from Ohio University, was flashing like he was okay.
Mhm.
This is going to be your Cade Stover of the offense, but maybe he's more of the blocking run when it's running downs, he's in there. But when you have the
He's
two
the,
tight ends, the 12-man personnel, two tight end sets, G's more of like a wide receiver like tight end, which has kind of been his forte. But he's not. I mean, we've been saying for years he needs to improve in blocking, right? We've been
yeah.
talking about that. He's physically, I think, able to do it. I don't know if it's technique or just not reading the play correctly,
Well, I think what we've
possibly, but
probably got, Eric, is probably a Luke Farrell, Jeremy Ruckert situation going on right now.
possibly.
Um, where the transfer is a little bit more the blocker, a little more the Farrell. and you got more of the Ruckert in G. Scott. Although not to downplay Ruckert's, you know, blocking because he was a pretty darn good blocker in his own right.
Sure.
But
He
yeah,
developed into it, yeah.
I think what we're going to see is very much that on those passing downs. And then the beautiful thing about that is because Merrick could see some passing downs, especially in
Oh
goal line
yeah.
situations. And when they do that the first couple times, it's going to catch people off guard.
It is. I think I was gonna say it could be one of those things when you don't he's been blocking for 2.5 quarters and then all of a sudden
He
on a third
slips
and
out.
5, he slips out and hits the seam and boom, there's a 25-yard wide open tight end over the middle. And you're like, wait a second, this guy can catch the ball too. Like there could be some of that early on. Um, but the way that they look at their tight ends at Ohio State philosophically is you need to do both. If you're just good at catching and not blocking, then we don't have need for you, and vice versa. If you can only block but not catch the football, then what are you doing in Ryan Day's offense? So they believe that you have to do both, and what we're learning is that takes time.
Yeah,
Hence, Jelani Thurman. We all thought Thurman was going to be the guy this year. Apparently, he needs some more seasoning. If they
yeah,
didn't, otherwise, why go in the transfer portal like they did? Number one, and number two, although he is improving, and Ryan Day did talk about that today, he went to G. Scott first, and a coach doesn't do that unless it's one of two reasons. Number one, he's trying to motivate you, or number two, you deserve it because you've improved, and it's an attaboy and
yeah,
publicly. That's what it felt like to me. It was an attaboy.
yeah. I agree. Um, so I'm excited about that. And then they touched on the linebacker situation a little bit today too.
Hmm.
And I don't know what I took away from that, Eric. I really don't, because to me it sounds like we all had an assumption of one thing, but is it maybe something else? Is there still possibility of an open competition here? I don't know. I feel like Cade and Sonny are still the favorites going in, but I didn't know what to make of you know.
You mean who
Or
is?
yeah, not Cade.
I was like, wait a minute, Stover's back?
No,
Yeah,
no,
he's in
that
the
would be
linebacker room now.
that would be a dream. No, Cody
Cody
Simon.
Simon. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what about CJ Hicks here, man?
yeah. CJ's, he's this athletic freak, and if
I'm
he's
telling you right now,
developing, he's gonna
too.
have to get on the field.
Do not sleep on Gabe Powers.
Yeah, I agree. So
I
I
You
think
know
this is
what
a
could
lot
happen?
more wide open than what we saw.
I agree. I think this could be a rotational thing at linebacker until someone's solidified. But
How would you
here's
like
the
to have that though? How would you like to have a fresh CJ Hicks on one side and a fresh Sonny Styles on the other side coming at your quarterback in the fourth quarter after your line's already beaten down?
Are you asking me as the opposing offensive
Yes.
coordinator? I would hate that. I
Yeah.
mean, just
I mean,
but at,
obviously, as the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, you're going to be doing a little Irish jig there on the sideline as that's
yeah,
happening. But
I would say I would probably do if I was the offensive coordinator, knowing that they are inexperienced at the linebacking position, I would do a lot of pre-snap movement to try to get them
shifting,
get them to play slower because their eyes are lying to them.
yeah,
That's what I would probably try to do. But let's be honest, not everybody can do that because not every team is capable of a lot
yeah,
of those pre-snap shifting and understanding what you're trying to do through that. Um, yeah, I thought overall, in closing, unless you've got another topic
no,
you'd like to
no, go
talk
ahead,
about, overall in closing, I felt like Ryan Day felt loose and free,
yeah,
and I
and I kind
didn't.
of feel like that is that is I think a large part that he now understands that he is no longer the offensive coordinator.
Okay,
He has a head coach for his offense and a head coach for his defense now,
let me ask you
and
another
and
question
they're
with that
both
then.
people that he trusts.
Do you think that there was more going on behind the scenes with Tony Alford and him than what we knew that was causing kind of either a butting of
Kind of,
heads
you
or
mean a
tension,
Jim Knowles, Larry Johnson thing?
possibly.
Kind of
Although
that
I don't
difference
know,
in
it sounds like they've
philosophies?
kind of got things worked out, maybe a little bit. We'll find out, but
Well, sure, he's talking about dropping defensive end and linebackers now, and then all of a
that could
sudden
just
Larry's
be
got 5 and 6 guys on the field instead of four, and
that could just all be talk though too.
but
Although
you've got
get
the
the tin
athletes to do it. It
get the
could
tinfoil
coincide
hat
him.
on. We just got done talking about linebackers. If he's not comfortable with what's happening in the linebacker room, could he do
Cap
that?
and Jeff.
Could he be like, hey, we're dropping our DNs as linebackers and playing more of a 3-3? Is there some legitimacy to that? I doubt it. Only time will tell.
But you could see it.
I can
You know,
see
that's the
it.
exciting thing. We've got the athletes on this team, and we've got the people leading this team now in as far as offensively and defensively, in Knowles and Chip Kelly, that are creative guys who can show it. This is the thing: go out there and show it 1 or 2 times, and then if nothing else, they got to prepare for it.
That was your practice number 3 of spring football report from the OHIO podcast. Please hit the like, share, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, ring the bell if you are a subscriber. That way you get notified every time we go live or we have some new video for you that drops. If you haven't already and you have been following us for a while, please consider joining us. It costs $3.99 a month. It's a great way of saying thank you and appreciate the content that we're producing for you on a daily basis. Plus, you'll get a free T-shirt. You'll get videos that only for members to see, etc. Free shipping on anything from our merch store when that opens here very shortly. So we're excited about that as well. We will be doing another live call-in show this Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern. So make sure you tune into that and you can call in and give us your 2 cents about what we talked about tonight or anything else that's suiting your fancy in Buckeye Nation this week. All right, till next time, OH,
IO.
go Bucks.